of ancient curses, sacred oaths, and spirits that never sleep. But in one forgotten village, hidden deep in the heart of Africa, there lived a man who could never tell a lie. Not because he chose truth, but because truth chose him. They called him Chief Madhu. Wise, respected, loved, but what they didn't know is that his honesty was not virtue. It was a prison. Because every truth he spoke unraveled a thread of peace. Tonight, we enter a tale woven in blood, fear, and ancient spirits. This is the chilling story of the chief who couldn't lie. And I warn you, sometimes truth is the sharpest blade. Long ago, before the roads cut through the earth like scars, before the sound of car horns replaced the call of the forest birds, there was a village untouched by time. Hidden behind walls of ancient baobab trees and thick undergrowth, the village of Ikudoro stood like a secret buried. Beneath the soil of Africa, the people were simple. Farmers, hunters, mothers and children who laughed beneath the sun. But their peace did not come by chance. It came at a price, and that price was silence. No lies, no falsehoods, no deception. It was the one law no one dared break. For if they did, something, or someone, would come at the center of it all. Was Chief Madhu, the seventh in a line of chiefs burdened by the curse of truth. From the moment he could speak, Madhu could not lie, not even to spare a friend's feelings or to protect a child's innocence. If he tried, his throat would close, his vision would blur, and a shadow would fall over the sky. But Madhu was wise. He learned to speak with care, choose his truths like a skilled hunter picks his arrows. He wore the mask of calm, but inside, fear festered because the curse did not forgive. And neither did the spirit who cast it. Legend had it that generations ago, Madhu's great ancestor Chief Obadal had lied to save his own life during a war. He made a false truce with a neighboring kingdom, then betrayed it. The result of massacre, an entire tribe wiped from the earth. As Obadal stood on the battlefield, knee-deep in the blood of the betrayed, a spirit appeared, not of flesh, but of ash and bone. Its eyes glowed like dying coals, and it whispered in a voice like dry leaves in the wind. From now on, your bloodline shall know no lie. Every truth shall cut like a blade, and each chief shall carry the weight of their honesty, until the earth forgets your name. And so it was. Ma now ruled. In his 40th year, he stood tall, his face carved with tribal lines, his robes embroidered with ancient glyphs. He was loved, respected. But when the Festival of Masks arrived that year, marking the day of Obadal's cursed pact, the wind changed. Drums beat louder. The air was heavier. Even the fire in the village square burned blue instead of orange, and the children stopped laughing. During the ceremony, villagers wore masks of animals: lion, hyena, tortoise, to honor the ancestors. But one mask stood apart, a black, charred wood mask with no eyes, only a jagged, smiling mouth. The elders gasped. No one knew who brought it. It lay at the foot of the shrine like an offering, or a warning. Chief Madhu's heart pounded. He knew what it meant. The spirit is awake, he whispered to his advisor, and it's listening. That night, as moonlight spilled over the village, strange things began to happen. The village dogs barked at nothing. Smoke from the hearths rose straight into the sky without drifting, and every mirror in the village, whether metal, water, or polished stone, reflected not the person staring, but a shadow standing behind them. Chief Madhu, sitting in his chamber, heard a knock at the door. Not once, not twice, but thrice. He opened it slowly and found no one. But carved into the wood of the door were the words. His hands trembled. The spirit had returned, and this time it wanted more than truth. It wanted blood. The night after the warning appeared on Chief Madhu's door was thick with silence. Not even the crickets dared to sing. The words truth or death burned in his mind like a fever. He ran his fingers over the carved letters again and again, hoping they'd vanish under his touch. They didn't. By dawn, Madhu had summoned his most trusted advisors Selder Bako, High Priestess Renew, and the village warrior Ogolo. He did not speak of spirits or curses, not yet. Instead, he simply said, "The past has returned," and they knew as the sun rose. Strange happenings continued. A woman claimed her infant child spoke in a grown man's voice, whispering riddles while staring blankly at the thatched roof. A boy fetched water from the river and returned mute, his lips stitched by invisible thread, eyes wide with terror. The chief's own livestock refused to eat. Their eyes bled black. Something ancient stirred beneath the earth. Something that smelled of smoke, bone, and forgotten packs. In desperation, Madhu went to the shrine of the ancestors. Alone, he carried no guards, no offerings, only questions. There, beneath the towering baobab tree, he lit a candle made from lion fat and goat's blood, a sacred tradition to open the ears of the dead. He whispered, "What truth must I speak to silence this storm?" The candle flickered and died. Smoke coiled upward, and within it, a voice: "Speak what you've buried. Tell what you've hidden. Confess what no ear must hear, or the earth will drink your people's blood." And then, silence. That night, Madhu lay awake, haunted by memories he had locked away. Years ago, before he wore the chief's robes, he had broken a sacred rule he had fathered a child with a woman from the cursed enemy tribe, the same tribe his ancestor betrayed. He had loved her fiercely, but when she became pregnant, he was told by the elders she must disappear, or the curse would strengthen, so she vanished. Word spread that she died in childbirth, but the truth, Madhu had sent her into the forbidden forest with their newborn daughter, and never saw her again. Now, as the spirit's curse spread, he knew. The past demanded its due. "If I speak this truth," he muttered, "I will lose everything." But if he didn't, he would lose the village. 3 nights later, as the villagers gathered for emergency prayers, the wind died completely. The fire in the center of the square turned black and hissed like a snake. From the shadows stepped a figure cloaked in darkness, face hidden by that same eyeless mask from the festival. No feet touched the ground. No voice came from the mouth. Yet they all heard it. "Chief Madhu, you wear the crown of truth. So answer, if you dare. I speak without a mouth. I listen without ears. I am not alive, but I bring the dead. What am I?" Gasps filled the air. Mothers clutched their children. Warriors drew their blades, though they knew steel would do no good. Madhu froze. The riddle-it wasn't just a trick. It was a test. Behind the words lay a curse, a trap designed to pull the truth from him. If he failed, the spirit would consume the village. He closed his eyes, his voice trembling. "You are a curse." The masked figure tilted its head. Silence. Then, a low chuckle. "No," the spirit said. "The answer is an echo, but yours will do." And with that, the ground trembled. The village began to change. That night, everyone who heard the riddle began to dream the same dream. A masked child, dripping black water, walking through the village asking, "Do you know who I am?" Those who answered incorrectly never woke up. By morning, 9 villagers were dead. Their bodies pale, their mouths open as if screaming, eyes frozen in horror, burned into their chests. The same riddle, "I speak without a mouth." Panic erupted. The villagers began to whisper that Madhu had failed, that his truth had angered the spirit. But Madhu knew the truth was only beginning. And then, a girl arrived, not from the village. Her skin bore the markings of the lost tribe. Her eyes his eyes. She looked directly at the chief and spoke in a voice half her age. "You don't remember me, father, but the spirit does." The girl stood in the center of the square, her bare feet dusted with red earth, her gaze unwavering. Her skin bore the faded tattoos of the cursed enemy tribe, the same symbols that had once brought war and death to the land. But her voice cracked through the crowd like thunder. "You don't remember me, father, but the spirit does." Chief Modu's heart nearly stopped. He stumbled backward, blood draining from his face. The villagers gasped, glancing from him too. The girl, then back again. Whispers broke the silence. "Father, could it be true? The chief has a daughter." But Madu said nothing. He couldn't lie, he couldn't deny it. He could only stare and breathe and tremble. The girl stepped forward. She looked no older than 17. Her eyes glowing with something unnatural, something watching. "My name is Amira. I lived with the outcasts in the forest. The spirit kept me safe. It whispered stories about my father, the man who sent us away, the man who chose silence over love." Madhu tried to speak, but his throat clenched. He remembered that night, the guilt, the shame, the impossible decision. He had buried it all, thinking it was the right thing to do. But now, the truth had walked back into his life, wearing his eyes. Elder Bako stepped forward, trembling. "Chief, is it true? Did you father a child with the blood of our enemies?" The village held its breath, and Madhu answered, with the only thing he could offer, "Yes." Cries of disbelief and betrayal rang out. Some turned away. Others dropped to their knees, wailing. A few spat on the ground, because the curse was not only on Madhu, it was now in his bloodline. That night, Amira came to the chief's hut. The moon was hidden behind a thick veil of clouds. The air stank of Ashdod. She did not knock, she simply appeared. In the doorway, her face half covered in shadow. "It's not over, father," she whispered. "The spirit wants more than your truth. It wants your confession. What haven't you told them?" Madhu turned his back to her. His hands shook as he poured water into a clay cup. "Too much," he whispered. "Too much to say in one lifetime." Amira stepped inside, the flames of the oil lamp flickering wildly around her. "Then speak fast," she said, her voice deepening not with anger, but something older. For a moment, her face wasn't her own. It flickered like flame, young and old, woman and spirit, child and something monstrous. The spirit grows stronger with each truth spoken. It is not destroyed by honesty. It feeds on it. The next day, 3 more villagers were found dead. This time, their bodies were placed in a perfect circle around the old burial mound beyond the edge of the village. Priestess Renew called it a sign, a map, a warning, and Madhu knew why. That mound was where he had buried the symbol of his greatest sin, a locket, carved from bone, given to him by Amira's mother, the only proof of their love, the only object connecting him to the tribe he betrayed. Years ago, he buried it there to forget. Now, the spirit wanted it back. As the sky darkened, Madhu led a small group to the mound. He carried no weapons, only a shovel. Every strike into the soil echoed like a drumbeat of judgment. When he unearthed the bone locket, the ground shook. A scream burst from the trees, shrill and inhuman. The spirit had been waiting. Black smoke rose from the soil, and a shape began to form. Long arms, twisted spine, a face made only of teeth and smoke. It did not speak, it howled. Villagers ran mad. Dropped to his knees, and from behind him, Amira stepped forward and whispered, "Give it the truth, father, or give it the village." Atu lifted the locket. He held it high. "I loved her," he cried into the night. "I betrayed her. I buried our daughter's name. I chose my crown over my soul, and I am not worthy of this land." The spirit roared, but something shifted. The smoke twisted, then paused. The beast's form stopped, writhing, and its mask-like face tilted curious, not angry. The air grew cold. Amira stepped beside Madhu and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Now," she said, "ask it a question." "What question?" he whispered. "One only you can ask. A truth it must face." The village of Ekadora was no longer quiet. Smoke from burning shrines painted the skies in streaks of black. Mothers wailed. The forest groaned. The spirits had awakened. And at the center of it all knelt Chief Madhu Clutch, my cursed bone. Locket that once belonged to his forbidden love. Before him stood the spirit, a twisted figure of ash, bone, and wrath. But now, it hesitated for the first time in centuries. The truth had been spoken willingly, not torn from lips or forced through suffering. And in that silence, a crack had opened. Madhu's daughter Amira, born of love and exile, stood beside him, her voice now fused with something older, something eternal. "Now, Father," she said, her voice calm, "ask it what it fears." Madhu's throat tightened. This wasn't a question born from ego or pride. It was a key to the spirit's prison. And so, with the voice of a man broken and brave, he spoke. "You ask us to confess. You punish lies with death. But tell me, spirit, what truth do you fear the most?" The wind died. The trees stilled. Even the fire stopped crackling. The spirit's body twisted unnaturally, convulsing in a way that made bones ache just to witness. Its mask cracked down the center, and from the fracture came a scream, not loud, but ancient. A sound like a mother, wailing in childbirth, a grief too old for language. Then it spoke. "I fear the truth of my birth." Madhu's eyes narrowed. "Explain." The spirit did not answer with words. Instead, it turned and drifted toward the ancestral shrine. Forgotten stone hut built before Madhu's time. The ground beneath it pulsed. Mira took Madhu's hand. "We must follow. It's ready to show us what it's hidden for generations." Inside the shrine, the walls were covered in ancient markings, none of which had ever been translated. Not. Even Elder Bako knew their full meaning. The spirit pointed toward a slab on the floor. Amira knelt and brushed away the dust. There, carved in trembling hands, was a forgotten tale. The spirit was not born of vengeance. It was born of betrayal. Not from the cursed tribe, but from Madhu's own bloodline. Centuries ago, the first Chief Obadel had made a blood sacrifice to gain power over rival kingdoms. He offered his own brother the rightful heir to the gods, and then lied about it to the people. But the gods were not fooled. They twisted the soul of the slain brother into a spirit half-man, half-shadow, and bound him to the village, cursed to extract truth from those who built their thrones on deceit. The spirit was family. Madhu fell to his knees. "I am the descendant of the murderer," he whispered. "And you are the murdered." The spirit nodded once, slowly. "I never sought destruction," it rasped. "Only remembrance. But the lies buried me. Each truth you speak revives my pain. Each silence tightens my chains." And then it looked at Amira. But she carries both bloods, mine and hers. She is the key. A storm brewed outside as Amira stepped forward, her eyes wide with ancestral knowledge. "You mean to bind me?" she said. "To finish the curse." "Through me," the spirit nodded, "lest you set me free." Everyone expected Madhu to stop. But instead, he whispered, "Let it be your choice. No more commands, no more chains." Amira looked to the villagers, watching in awe and fear. Then she looked at her father, her eyes welling. I will not continue the curse, she said, but I will not erase him either. She turned to the spirit. You will be remembered not as a monster, but as the truth we buried. I speak. Your name, Ikina, brother of the bloodline. Rest. The spirit fades as the name was spoken aloud. The walls of the shrine glowed with golden fire. The spirit Eken smiled, not with cruelty, but with peace. Its mask shattered, and its form dissolved into wind, light, and ash. The trees outside swayed again. Birds returned. The silence lifted for the first time in generations. The village could breathe. The next morning, Chief Madhu stood before his people. He held no staff, no crown. He looked older, lighter. The curse is broken, but let it not be forgotten. From now on, truth will be sacred, not because it kills, but because it heals. He turned to Amira, and she shall lead you. The spirit Tekanoi is gone, laid to rest not by force, but by truth and bloodline. The villagers slowly emerged from their huts, eyes cautious, as if waking from a nightmare they feared might still be real. And at the heart of it all stood Chief Madhu, older, humbled, and now free from the curse that bound his every word. But he did not celebrate, because the truth, while it had saved them, had also changed them. On the morning after Akina's spirit faded, the villagers gathered at the shrine to burn offerings not to gods, but to truth itself. Fathers confessed to long-hidden sins. Wives revealed old wounds. Children spoke freely, no longer silenced by fear. There was pain in the honesty, but also healing. Amira stood beside her father, her hands resting on the cracked bone locket once buried in shame. She had chosen not to bind the spirit, not to deny its existence. Instead, she created something new, with the help of Elder Bako and Priestess Renew. Amira led the villagers to the edge of the forest. There, beneath the baobab trees, they built a second shrine, not for gods, not for ancestors, but for forgotten truths. They called it the Whispering Place. Every month, villagers would go there to speak the truths they feared most out loud into the wind. And the wind, they believed, would carry it to the ears of the past. Some came in tears, others in silence, but they came. And with each whisper, the village grew lighter. Chief Madhu ruled for one more year. Then one night, under a silver moon, he called Amira to his side. My daughter, he said, I have lived a life of silence and shame, but you gave my words meaning again. He placed the ceremonial necklace of rule into her hands. Truth has cost us dearly, but now it will guide us instead of curse us. That night, Madhu walked alone to the Whispering Place. He knelt at the base of the tree and whispered, I am ready to be forgotten, if it means my people remember what matters. By morning, he was gone. No body, no tracks, only his staff, resting where the wind had blown his final truth. Years passed under Amira's rule. The village prospered. The shrine became a sacred place, not just for Ekudoro, but for travelers from distant lands who came to speak truths they dared not say elsewhere. But then, one night, a child ran to the council fire, eyes wide with fear. There's something in the shrine, she cried. It's whispering my name. It knows my secret. Amira went alone. Inside the Whispering Place, the air had grown cold. The candles flickered violently. On the back wall, scratched by something not human, were 4 chilling words. Truth never dies. The curse was broken, but the truth was never buried, because truth does not rest. It watches, it waits, and when the silence grows too deep, it whispers again. So, next time you speak, ask yourself what truth still lives inside you. waiting to rise. Beat of silence. This was the story of the chief who couldn't lie, but perhaps he was never the cursed one. Perhaps we all are.